figure that I have combined 45 minutes. I don't need to necessarily split it into 15 minutes playing and then half an hour talking. So what I'm thinking of doing is to do a little bit of playing, a little bit of talking, a little bit of workshop. So I will need volunteers later on. But let's start first things first. Let me introduce myself. So my name is Joanna Orzechowska. Some people call me Asha. It's the same name in where I'm from, so just please accept that this is how it is. And I'm going to talk about mindful instrument learning, instrumental self-discovery. I wanted to start with a very, very quick meditation, if people don't mind. So, because we are going to talk about music, it's going to be a sound meditation. So if you're okay with it, just take a comfortable posture. Okay, just make sure you're comfortable. So maybe both of your feet are framed on the ground. Maybe you want to put your hands on your laps, facing down or up. Whatever feels more comfortable. Make sure you have an open posture. So your head, your neck, and your spine are aligned. Okay? So you can bring your attention to within by gently allowing your eyes to close if it feels comfortable. And begin by taking a deep breath in. You can hold it for a moment if it feels comfortable, and then relax through your mouth. And again, you don't need to align with my breathing, just do it in your own good time. Hold if you can, and then relax. And the last time. And try to breathe naturally now, so don't control your breathing in any way. And try to bring your attention to your breath. So you might want to watch it coming in and leaving your body very gently. And make sure it's natural at this very moment. So if it needs to be slow and deep, just let it be, don't try to control it. If it needs to be fast or shallow, just let it be. Accept it for what it is. And stay with your breath as best as you can. And if your mind wanders off, don't criticize yourself for that, but with full acceptance, just take it for a part of the process and gently escort your mind back to your breath. And now, very gently expand your attention to the sounds around you. First those closest to you, maybe even within you. And then those around you. Try to act like an open receiver, so don't try to label the sounds you are hearing or call them anything specific. Instead of that, just focus on the vibration, focus on the pitch and the volume. And stay in this state for a moment. When you're ready, without rushing anywhere immediately, gently bring your attention back by opening your eyes. I hope I didn't make you fall asleep just after lunch. So I'm going to talk today about mindful instrument learning. And I wanted to tell you before we start talking about mindful instrument learning a little bit about instrument playing at all. So many people, they think playing guitar, for instance. Playing guitar, probably something like that, like the chords. Or maybe some people think that playing guitar is a little bit more advanced, and then you can play some rock songs in a classical way. Like for instance this one, Nothing Else Matters. Do you know this one? Some people know. But I wanted to tell you today that there's much more into music playing, especially on the guitar, or actually any other natural instrument. It doesn't need to be necessarily the popular music, or doesn't need to be necessarily the rock music. Or we can do magic with the instrument. So we can play things like, let's say, bossa nova. Can you hear me okay? I realize I can amplify myself. I hope I'm not going to make a horrible feedback noise. Is that any louder? Oh, I let myself in, that's why. Okay, let's hope for the best. That was very mindful. Okay, no amplification then. That's alright. Okay, but we can also play things on the guitar like blues, for instance. music, yeah? Or something which I really and personally enjoy is to arrange the pop music or any other popular music which I really like in a classical way where you actually play the chords and the melody at the same time. Like for instance, this one. So you know that one. Very mindful lyrics, by the way. So does it look difficult? I'm going to demonstrate to you today that it doesn't need to be, okay? So just bear with me and I'll try to prove my point today. So listening to the music, it can be already very mindful activity, putting you present in the moment, make you connect with yourself better. But playing music, even more so. It's very difficult to actually play the music and be worried about your past or worry what you need to do tomorrow. So I think many people agree with this point that playing music could be a mindful activity. But what about learning music? Is that always very mindful? Well, from what I heard from many people who came for my sessions and my classes, many people actually found learning music a little bit of a nightmare. And if there are many people in the audience who try to learn, then I believe probably at least 90% of them will agree with me and with that statement. So why is that? Well, first of all, we're trying to strive when we learn, so we have an objective. We want to learn all the chords first, and then here you go, you can play your first piece of music. So, like a lot of amount of work put into preparation so that you can start enjoying that. And then the other thing is that all of us, or most of us, maybe not people in the room practicing the mindfulness, but in general, we have this internal critic within us who is sitting there and constantly telling us what we are not doing right or how we are doing worse than someone else in the group, or I don't know, why I'm not playing faster. And this is really disturbing. I find it as a really major cause in progressing in instrument learning. So not as much as physical difficulties or physical abilities as that internal critic, because in terms of the physical abilities, this is something which the teacher, so in this case myself, should address. This shouldn't be your problem, really. But the internal critique, it's constantly there. This is something which might be quite difficult to accept. So it might be quite difficult to accept that for some people learning just takes a bit longer than for others, and so what? I mean, this is how it is. So it's very easy to see how this can lead to lots of struggle and difficulties while getting to the stage where you can use the instrument playing as a mindful activity. So I want to tell you a little bit about my background on this occasion. So I'm coming from the musical family. Both of my parents are musicians, and in 1982 they set up a music school back in Poland, where I'm from. And what they wanted really to do is to create a teaching method which will be accessible to literally everyone. You don't need to have any special abilities to learn some music and just enjoy it. Method which is completely stress-free and method which is fun. So exactly everything opposite what was taught, at least at that time, back in Poland especially, which that's a different story. Anyway, that's the teaching method which I was taught by my parents since I was little. That's the teaching method which I was using later on, teaching them myself. And actually, none of us knew back then that the approach which we were using in terms of supporting our students, also from the mental perspective, was very mindful. So before I carry on with the mindfulness, I wanted to give you a very brief introduction of where you can get to in 20 minutes of learning, literally. So this is a very quick video. This is going to show you open mic where I taught two volunteers to play a song in 20 minutes, and they went with me and performed on the stage. And then later on, a quick snapshot of how you will play in the first lesson on the ukulele, and then a quick snapshot you will play on the second lesson of piano. How do you play?
Is that a fight?
Yeah, it
I don't see. Was there a link something here?
No, it was the video
Was
was
it in
pasted
there?
there, so when
Should be
you
automatically, isn't it? Then
was the click, so
oh, sure.
yeah, I did click them.
I'm not sure.
Was the red click? That's a beep beep. It's a real beep. Is there any way to connect with my laptop? Or?
We have an HDMI over here. Yeah.
Okay, so just let me. I was prepared for that. I'm going to carry on with the presentation once my laptop is loading. So I'll show you the quick video in a minute, but in a meanwhile I wanted to tell you how I started applying the mindfulness in a conscious way in my teaching. So the moment I become familiar with the mindfulness, actually I realized that there are many common points between these two. So between mindfulness and between teaching music the way we used to teach. You can start from a very prosaic observation like the importance of the sitting posture. So in both of this is very important. When you learn an instrument, the sitting posture is also very important because you need to feel comfortable and you need to feel open. So your posture is still very similar to the way as you sit with the meditation, which which makes you feel more natural, and therefore the music more naturally goes through you. I'll just try to multitask. Sorry. Okay. And the other thing is like deliberate direction of your focus. So the way we teach, I'm going to tell a little bit more about it later on, but the way I teach is it's about directing your focus to things like, for example, a sound when you're creating the music, rather than trying to strive and focus on the ultimate goal of learning the song, for instance. So the way I usually start my session, I start them with the meditation. So the meditation there is not just to relax you or just to improve your focus while learning, but also to let you experience the state of mindfulness. So as I did the meditation with you in the beginning, when you were focusing on your breath, and then my voice was guiding you, if your mind wanders off, don't judge yourself. The opposite, congratulate yourself that you noticed and bring it back to your breath. So the same principle I'm applying while teaching music. Many people, when they start learning, and not even people who are learning, me myself, when I play, I make some little errors all the time. So you can compare to the mind wandering off during the meditation. And then your task is not to criticize yourself and stop playing, is to bring your mind back as soon as possible. And I have especially designed musical exercises where I'm actually training you in doing that. Okay, so my laptop is ready. Can I? Okay.
I hope we can connect.
Yes, that's the only. I think that's the only cable we have.
Have they used this?
No.
Thank you very much.
No. No. I think that's the only connection which I don't have.
Hang on, I've got it.
Okay. We don't have HDMI over here. Okay. Oh, okay, there we go.
Oh, brilliant.
It's the wrong way.
Is the wrong way?
Okay.
Maybe we can move the laptop.
I've got a university
Let's change this to
laptop,
English.
and I recently had to fix the sound driver, so that might work. Want to try it?
I don't think there is any link in the presentation itself. It's just the image.
So it's a video.
It might be to connect
Because
that
Yeah.
to this one. It might just be that because it's going through after translation.
Yeah, it is working
we
online.
have downloaded the driver. It is working actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had on the driver.
Yeah.
We're just working.
That's all right. Okay, that's okay. The way I'm teaching, I'm trying to activate all senses and switch off the analysis. So instead of going and trying to memorize the song, just go into meditative state and try to enjoy the creation of the music and switch off your analytical mind for a moment if you can. And as I mentioned, body scan. This is something which is very, very useful while music playing, because you need to feel comfortable. You need to make sure you're relaxed while you're creating music. The more relaxed you are, the more naturally you can play, and vice versa. Okay. So what I'm really enforcing while teaching how to play a guitar, piano, ukulele, is the non-striving principle. So it's lots of focus on enjoyment and actually really having fun during the session and really being present in what you're doing, rather than having an ultimate goal of playing a song. And actually what I found out that this way people are learning to play the song much faster. So it's a little paradox this way, but I think it's nice to find out that. And then I'm using some other exercises like watching your thoughts, which is very typical for mindfulness, and then watching your thoughts when the critical thought is coming to your mind when you are playing. So just watch it as external observer and don't try to stick to that. And acceptance. As I guided you during the meditation, you're supposed to be present with your breath and accept it as it is at this very moment. So if it needs to be slow, just let it be, don't try to control it. And the same is with the tempo of the music you're creating. So if you're learning to play and you play slow, just let it be. Don't try to force it. Don't try to make it faster. And the same with the speed of your learning. Don't try to, force yourself to progress faster than you can. It is what it is. Just let yourself be. And I have some specially designed exercises on making mistakes, actually. So some exercise when you learn how to make mistakes while playing the music and accept it rather than judging yourself. Because just think about it. If you try to play perfectly and you never made any mistake while learning to play, the first moment you go to the stage, you make your first mistake and then what? You just stop and what do I do now? You have absolutely no idea because you didn't develop the practice of mistake making. So this is something which I also teach and train during the sessions. So what I'm doing, I'm proposing a 6 weeks programs, 6-hour programs. So it could be either 6 weeks course, 1 hour per week, or it could be 2 workshops, 3 hours each of them, or it could be a residential course of full day 6-hour practice with some little breaks and walks and meditation in between. This is yet to come. This is not in place just yet. Also, there are obviously the individual sessions and couple sessions and parent and the child sessions. But the point is that in 6 hours you can get to the level of being quite self-sufficient with instrument playing. So you're self-sufficient with basic chords on the guitar, with different types of accompaniment on the piano. So in 6 sessions you know actually what to do with music. And of course you can carry on if you want to, but if you don't want to, you have a good base to actually go ahead and look for things online in the internet and try to teach yourself. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the outcomes of the 6-hour programs. So yes, they are obviously the hard skills. So that's probably the fastest way of picking up an instrument you can think of. Secondly, you come across 6 different meditations. So you get some familiarity with 6 different meditations, and you learn 6 different songs, whether on guitar or piano or ukulele, because I'm teaching all of these instruments. And you also learn to play solo as well as in a split of rows. So this is your preparation for playing in a band arrangement. And as I mentioned before, you become self-sufficient in the basic chords and basic types of accompaniments and various playing techniques, which actually for some other teachers would be considered as quite advanced, but for me this is exactly what I'm starting from. So then it becomes easier later on. And in terms of the soft skills, amazing, less judgmental thoughts, because you keep practicing judging yourself less while doing very practical activities. So you're not doing this just during the meditation, but also you have to put it in practice, which hopefully gives you more chance to apply similar logic in any other area of your life. More acceptance to your own abilities. Reduced self-limiting beliefs. So if people tell me, for instance, that, oh, I can't play, I'm not musically talented, or they tell me, my hands are too small, my hands are too big, I don't know, playing music is very difficult. So I'm particularly keen to teach those people and prove them wrong very quickly. And as a consequence, this is a booster of self-esteem. And yes, you get better understanding of your body, embraced creativity, and some initial understanding of the mindfulness and mindfulness principle applied in real life problem, so in this case, instrument learning. A new ability to manage your emotion through music. And the way of getting into meditative state, even for those people who say that meditation is not their cup of tea. So probably you probably you came across people who don't really want to start a meditation because they think they won't be able to sit and doing nothing for, I don't know, 10 minutes in a row. So I think this is a good way of tackling those people, because you're proving them, you're showing them while doing something mindful that this is possible, and then maybe there's more likelihood that they will actually try to meditate themselves. Okay, so time for a little workshop now. Let's pick up the guitar. So I'm going to need 2 volunteers. Yes, please come in. All right, great, fantastic. So I'm going to show you the song which we are going to play first, and then I'm going to make you play, okay? Just a quick sip of water. Talking too much. Okay. So. We are going to play this song. When I'm doing meditation, I get myself to relaxations. All my feelings and sensations makes me feel that it's alright. Problems and frustrations are replaced with acceptation. Sudden dose of inspiration make my soul sing and play. Now I have a question. You don't play guitar, right? You do? Oh, you can't come then. That's the absolute beginning. Sorry, no. That's against the rules. You don't, right? Okay. So I will want you to play something in a minute, but first let me get a volunteer who doesn't play anything at all. So I need a second person, and you can think about it for a moment while I'm tuning the other guitar.
I'm happy.
Yeah? Okay, great. So just still need to tune this guitar. Okay. So we have 2 chairs, so feel free to take any of them. If you don't mind, you can unplug the guitar for yourself, because we are not using the amplifier anyway, so there's no point to have extra hazard. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So we're going to play in the split of roles, so don't worry about how to hold the guitar. We don't have time for that today. Obviously, it was the first session. I will teach you how to do it properly. So let's start right here. So I want you to take your thumb in the right hand and play the string. Or if it feels more comfortable, you can use first finger. So this one. That's fine. That's fine. So it will be this string, then this string. And then what I want you to do is to listen to the chords. Oh, what is your name?
Ursula.
Oh, this is the, you listen to the chords which Ursula will be playing, and try to change the string when you hear that the chord was changed. Okay? Well, we'll try to do that. So, let's come here. So, keep the guitar like that. And then what I want you to do is to hit the strings like you were flicking the fly. Okay? Now let's play.
And I'll just do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Meditation, I get myself to relaxations. Okay, so let's try together now. So the first, the string closest to you. Okay, and let's try together. Okay, so we'll count first. What is your name, sorry?
Shayla.
Shayla. So we'll count first and then we'll start together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I'm doing meditation change, I get myself to relax in extreme. Okay? I'll stop for a moment. And then you change the string to this one. And then that one.
Oh, I see.
So that's the whole song. We have 4 strings and 4 chords.
Am I struggling good?
You're strumming, yeah. You're doing very well. You're doing amazing. So you're doing exactly as right because you're using the right finger for that. So it's really, really good. Yeah, we don't have time to go into technicality, and I don't have time to explain exactly how to move your hand, but this is just a quick taste then, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. When I'm doing meditation, I get myself to relaxation. All my feelings and sensation makes me feel that it's alright. Amazing.
No. This is enough for me.
Okay, great. So that was the quick demonstration. Thank you so much.
When are we going to do duet?
Charge.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to quickly demonstrate that you can start creating music even before you can play music. So through creating new music right from the start, you get to the level gradually when you play the music yourself sufficiently. Okay? So just to quickly wrap up, so probably the fastest way of learning to play music, and you develop better thinking patterns on the way. It's a fantastic way of introducing mindfulness to people who are skeptic about meditation, and an easy way to get in a meditative state while playing an instrument. Okay, so thank you so much. Any questions?
Yeah, thank you. I think we have time for 1 or 2 questions. If anyone has
Could
a
we just
question.
have your website, please?
Yes, and so I left my leaflets on, I think, almost all tables, and if I didn't leave in yours, I would just come in a minute. So I leave leaflets for adult session and children's session with the Elsa from Frozen. So you can, yeah, and the other one, the characters from Frozen. This is also, yeah, both of them.
Any other questions?
Can I comment as the participant? Just to say that I was so definitely in the present moment when I was playing, because I had to focus so much on what I was doing. I was definitely being mindful then, so yeah.
Thank you.
And I think we can take 2 more questions.
It's not so much a question, but I would like to reinforce the messages because I'm also a musician and I never really had that much tuition, and so it was more a thing of having fun and exploring. And it's a really, really nice way to learn. And it sounds like your teaching approach has got that in mind, that rather saying that there's a particular way to do it and functioning as a critic, it's more actually enabling somebody's own kind of journey of like joyfully exploring another way of expressing themselves.
Yes, yes.
And it adds a lot of life to your value and your understanding of yourself. And I think you said as well about processing emotions. And that's like, I don't know a better way to do it, to be honest with you, other than playing an instrument. You bring up all these things from weird depths of yourself, you know, that come out through the instrument because it's a different kind of channel of expression, one that's not so around words or being social or whatever. And so I think, yeah, this attitude of being non-judgmental about it is really effective because if you judge the things that come out, then you put them back down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like your talk a lot.
Thank you. That's a lovely comment. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're mainly dealing with most of the people that have this problem with non-striving, non-judgment, acceptance, and all this kind of stuff. But my question is, if these guys keep going after they overcame these problems, how do you deal with the other ones that fall in the other extreme, which is basically someone learns a song and then they're like, oh yeah, I learned a song in guitar, that's it, I'm done. How do you keep them going on?
That's actually my struggle because people feel they're not sufficient for 6 weeks. I'm not maintaining my customers. This is a very good question. If you have any suggestions, let me know, please.
Thank you. I think that's all the time we have for questions. You all join me to thank Dr. Joanna.